Hello world, I'm coming to you live from the kitchen where I'm here to do another review video. This is going to be Wentworth season 9 episode 2. Let me just start off by saying this. In this episode, I saw some of the best acting that I've ever seen in my fucking life by the talented Kate Box, okay? I saw the most disturbing scene that I have ever seen on Wentworth ever in this episode. It was crazy. This episode was so good, all right? And if you've not yet seen it and you don't want any spoilers, you already know what I'm gonna say. Get the hell out of here. Just go, because all the spoilers are coming. I'm not, listen, if they blink their eyes 3 times and I found it peculiar, I'm talking about it, okay? So just know that if you don't want any spoilers, goodbye. So Wentworth, season 9, episode 2. The review starts now. So the episode begins with a recap of last episode, okay? Episode 1. And we already know what happened there, so we're not even going to discuss that. Episode 2 picks up right where episode 1 left off. So we left off in episode 1, my precious baby love, Lou Kelly, okay? She was a sobbing, hysterical mess inside the cell, okay, with Reb, who was dead in her arms. She's fucking flipping out. She's losing it. She's in the cell. Mari's like, oh shit. And that's how the episode ended. So the first scene begins with Jake Stewart. You know what I'm saying? We know that Joan pushed the panic button. So Jake Stewart hears it and he's now running down the halls of Wentworth towards where the panic button sound is coming from, which is H6, which is Lou and Reb's unit. All right? So Jake goes and he sees Mari looking into the fucking cell and he's like, what's going on? And she's just like, she can't even verbalize what's happening. And so she just walks away looking frazzled. And Jake goes to the little window of the cell door and he's like, oh shit, he sees Lou. A hysterical mess, okay? And he's like, oh shit. And she's like, don't you dare do it. Don't you dare open that door. And he's like, and she goes and she grabs a shiv. And so she tells him, don't come in here. I'm going to stab you with this shiv. Okay? And I mean it. And she's just crying, holding Reb with one arm, holding the shiv, pointing it at Mr. Stewart with the other. You know what I'm saying? It was so sad. The whole time she's screaming and crying. You know what I'm saying? And Jake Stewart is just like, all right, fine. I'm not going to come in. Just calm down. And then comes Linda Miles into the unit like a bat out of hell, okay? And she runs up on the door. She's like, what's going on? She pushes Jake to the side. She looks into the fucking door, the window, and she sees what's going on. And she's like, listen, we're opening the door, and that's it. She tells him, y'all ready? There's a third screw. I don't know who this man is, but he's there as well. She looks at Jake like, are you ready? They say yes. She opens the door. So she opens the door, and next thing you know, you see Lou Kelly. Lou Kelly jumps off of the bed, crying. You know what I'm saying? She's got the fucking shiv in her hand, and she slices herself on the chest. She slices herself as she's getting off of the bed, all right? And then what happens? Something that pissed me the fuck off. Linda Miles comes with her damn pepper spray and pepper sprays my precious baby love in the eyes, okay? She's already been crying. Them shits is irritated as fuck already. And you're gonna go and you're gonna spray her with pepper spray while the love of her life lay dead on the bed, all right? What the hell is wrong with you, Linda Miles? I couldn't understand. Like, and they assumed that she's the one that killed Reb. How could you even assume that Lou Kelly would kill Reb? Don't you see how much she loves him? And it pissed me off. So Linda, she pepper sprays Lou Kelly, okay? And Lou Kelly's just like screaming, still holding the shiv. She goes down. She eventually goes down. She's crying. She's screaming. She's crying. She collapses onto Reb's dead body, all right? Oh my God, it was so sad. And they literally like dragging her out. They used like a shirt or a blanket as makeshift handcuffs and they tied her up. And she's like, no, please. And she's screaming, Reb, Reb, Reb. And it was sad. They dragged her away. It was upsetting. Like, Linda, what in the hell is your problem? So then now, Lou Kelly's been taken away. And it's just Linda and Mari. And Linda checks Reb's pulse, confirms that he is no longer with us. And Mari is just left there to cry. So the next scene is Lou in medical. And Dito, her eyes are all red and puffy. She looks so beautiful even with the red eyes. Will comes in to talk to her. And he's like, what happened? You know what I'm saying? Like, I think it'll be in your best interest to take a blood test. And I was like, why in the hell would he be asking her to take a blood test? What does a blood test have to do with anything? You know what I'm saying? She's like, you think I did this, you fucking asshole? And he's like, so what happened? Then tell me what happened. And she told him what happened. I don't know what happened, she said. I was laying in bed, we fell asleep, I woke up and he's dead, cold, with a spoon around his neck. You know what I'm saying? And you tell me what happened. I don't know what happened. And so he tells her, you know, you're going to stay here in medical for the night. And forensics is now, you know, with Reb in the cell, taking photos of his body. You know what I'm saying? So they're taking photos of Reb's body, and they have like those things, like the evidence markers or what have you. They're taking pictures and shit. They're just getting him ready to take him out of the prison in a body bag. And that's what happens. We see them wheeling him out in a fucking body bag. It's cutting to clips of Lou in medical, in shock, like sitting there in shock and sniffling because she's been crying. You know what I'm saying? Her eyes are all red because of the damn pepper spray. It was so sad. It was so sad. But I didn't cry. I didn't cry. So now we're in H1 with the girls, Allie, Boomer, Ruby, you know what I'm saying, Judy Bryant's treacherous ass, and Sheila. She's there as well. Yo, let me just say something real quick about Sheila. I wasn't ready. I wasn't fucking ready for what I saw and for the things that I heard. Okay? I'm going to say that now. We're going to talk about this most horrendous of scenes later on in the video as when we get to it. All right? But yo, it was terrible. It was fucking horrifying. It was straight out of a horror movie, if you ask me. That's how I felt about it. It was single-handedly the most disturbing shit I've ever seen on Wentworth. And when I tell you, I was left like, what did I just watch? Sheila's crazy ass starts talking her shit, trying to get it into the girls' heads that it was Lou. Lou must have had one of her violent outbursts, took it out on poor Reb and killed him. You know what I'm saying? And Boomer's like, you know, I really thought Lou loved Reb. I wouldn't have thought that she would have killed him. And Ruby's like, oh, you ever heard of, it's called domestic violence. And I'm in the background saying, domestic violence, my ass, okay? Lou would never, she might get mad and yell at him. She might get mad and start yelling, but she wouldn't put her hands on him, let alone strangle him while he slept. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna need for these bitches to cut it the fuck out. The next scene is Will and Vera. And they're talking about what happened with Reb. You know what I'm saying? And Vera is like, hold on a second. She had like an epiphany right then and there while sitting at the desk. And you could see it in her eyes. And I'm like, oh God, here it comes. So she's like, what if Joan did it? Killed Reb. And Will is like, what do you mean killed Reb? Why would Joan kill Reb? And she was like, Lou killed her goldfish. Now, if you remember, back in one of my videos, that was my original prediction. And that was one of the exact reasons that I gave for it. Wow, Lou was bullying her. You know what I'm saying? At the end of it all, she ends up killing her fish. And when Vera said this, though, it was hilarious because she said it. And it was almost like the second she said it, she realized how fucking dumb what she said was. And Will looked so confused by what she said. And he's like, what in the hell is wrong with you? What are you saying? And then, you know, so they're talking, and he's basically like, my God, this woman has lost her damn mind. So the next scene is Joan and Mari, and they're in the hallway, and they come across Jake, and Jake is telling them, all right, the unit's been cleared, forensics, you know, took Reb off to the coroners, and y'all could go back to your units. And they're like, all right. But in the midst of this, Mari sees Sheila. Mari sees Sheila in the halls, and she grabs her up, and she's like, yo, what the fuck, bro? Like, you told me you were going to kill Lou, right? And, you know, Sheila was like, I had a revelation. I had to take away from Lou the one thing she took away from me. Now we're even, yada, yada. Sorry, not sorry. You know what I'm saying? And Mari's like, you're a fucking bitch. You're going down. And Sheila's like, listen, don't forget who got me the sedatives, all right? We're in this together now, bitch. Okay? We're teammates. Mari's just left like this fucking bitch. What happened? Joan was standing a few feet away listening to the entire thing. It's raining outside, so if you hear rain, that's why, because it's raining. The next scene is they show Mari in her cell. You hear crying. You know what I'm saying? We start off in the unit, you hear the crying, and then it goes into a cell, and then you know it's Mari because you see Danny's picture on the wall. Danny's her son, for those of you who don't remember. So then we see Mari sitting on her bed holding like a pillow or a blanket or something, and she's like, oh God, and she's crying. She's mourning the death of Reb, right? So, you already know my thoughts. So my thought at this moment was, do I feel bad for Mari or not? Because I don't know. I just don't know. At that moment, I'm like, damn, yo. She might as well be mourning the loss of her son all over again. All right, I don't want you to think that I'm going soft on Mari. I'm not. But I think I am. She was crying her fucking eyes out, okay? And it was because of Reb's loss. And I know that a part of that crying wasn't just because Reb is gone. It also was because of the part she played in Reb being gone, all right? So, fucking Mari, man. Like, I don't know what to think. This episode left me more confused than ever as far as my emotions towards Mari. And as this review goes on, I'm going to try to work it out, okay? So, she's crying. And what happens? In the cell over is Joan Ferguson. Joan Ferguson hears her crying. And she looks like, she feels bad. It looks like she feels bad in her bed, right? Then, while this menacing music is playing, we also see Rita at the bedside of her dying dad, all right? And then, we see Lou in medical, laying in the bed. In that picture, that scene that we had already seen during the trailers, we see that she's in medical, not the psych unit, all right? As I thought she might be. She's in medical, recovering from the pepper spray and her heart being torn from its chest, okay? She's in there recovering, and she looks like a woman on a mission, all right? She's laying there both in shock, heartbroken, and fucking angry, okay? She's only got one thing on her mind, and that's bloody revenge for anyone and everyone that had anything to do with the death of Reb Keem, all right? The next scene is Joan in Dr. Miller's office, all right? And she's telling him about the events of last night, where she heard Mari crying, you know what I'm saying? And she felt like she wanted to help her. There's thoughts. Dr. Miller tells her, so you felt empathy. So the meds are working. You know what I'm saying? And Joan is like, listen, I don't know if I'm ready for all of this. And he's like, ready for what? And she's like, ready for emotions, okay? Because I didn't like how I felt last night. That life was so much simpler when she was just Kat Maxwell. Now Joan is in the mix, and she's feeling things like murderous urges. And now with the pills, the want to, like, I don't know, hug Mari in her time of grief. You know what I'm saying? She don't know what to do with all of that, because Joan is used to not feeling nothing, A, not giving a fuck, B, and Kat is used to this simple life without the want and urge to, like, kill somebody. You know what I'm saying? So they're talking about this, and Dr. Miller is telling her, well, listen, bitch, you have to work this out. And because either you're going to take the pills and you're going to get better or not. And so she, right there, flips from Kath to Joan. It was almost like when you see those people that have split personality disorder. So she's talking, like she split the personality right there in the office. She did this movement of her neck, right? She was just there as Kath, Kath Maxwell, and then she goes, and she looks back, right? And he says something to her, and then when she speaks again, she says something, and when she says something to him, she's Joan Ferguson now. Like when she was first talking to him, she was Kat. Now she's full force Joan, okay? She tells him at one point, you ambitious little man. And I'm like, that's Joan. Kat doesn't talk like that. You know what I'm saying? Kat doesn't get frustrated, aggravated, and aggressive and starts talking aggressively. Joan does. And Joan has very colorful phrases that she puts together. Like her vocabulary is extensive, okay? And she knows how to use her words. You ambitious little man, you. That's Joan all the fucking way. So she also accuses him of wanting to be a star by way of curing her psychopathy. Is that a fucking word? She's a fucking psychopath, and she's accusing him of wanting to cure her of her psychopath. Anyway, she's crazy, all right? And she's like, you just want to cure my crazy so that you can rise to the top and make a name for yourself. And he's like, nah, bitch, I genuinely want to help you. Is Joan faking the empathy? All right? Is she playing Dr. Miller, or are the medicines really working? You know what I'm saying? And while we're discussing this, in that scene, right, when the scene first fucking starts, she's sitting there. And then there's a little table in between the two chairs, right? And then there was some water. She pours herself a glass of water, right? On the table, there's this. Do you see something on the table? Just a random thing on the table? It's a fucking paperweight. Do you see this pyramid-shaped paperweight on this table just sitting there for no damn reason? First of all, let me tell you something. That would never happen in real life prisons because that is a fucking hazard to your health, okay? You could be killed. I feel like that pyramid is a fucking murder weapon for the future. In a future episode, Joan is gonna pick up that pyramid and fucking bash the shit out of Dr. Miller upside his head with it. Tuera. Why else would they show the pyramid? Why else would she be pouring herself a glass of fucking water? So the last thing in this scene, Dr. Miller asks her, has there ever been someone she desired to connect with on a human level? And she was about to answer him, no, motherfucker, no. When she stopped all of a sudden and thought. Now, when she stopped, I was like, Vera. Vera is the person you want to connect with as on a human level. Remember the speech from season 8 that she gave her? Well, what the fuck was that all about? The next scene is Joan walking down the halls, I guess going back to her unit, and who does she see? She sees Vera. She stops, she looks, she sees Vera. Vera senses that someone is looking at her, and she turns, and she sees Joan. They lock eyes, and Vera looks at her like this bitch, yo, she just doesn't stop staring at me, and she turned back and continued doing what she was doing. Meanwhile, back in medical, we see a grieving Luke Kelly. She's just sitting there, all right? Engulfed in grief, okay? When Will Jackson comes in. Will Jackson is such a nice fucking guy. He really cares about the women. You know what I'm saying? It's not like this is just a job for him. Like, he cares about these women. Caramba. So, like, look what happened when Debbie died. The way that he was there for B when she collapsed on the ground. He went to see Debbie in the morgue, for Christ's sakes, to tell Debbie that, you know, your mom loves you to the fucking moon and back. You know what I'm saying? He didn't have to do that. He was there for B's burial, okay? He cares about the women, and now he's gonna be there for Luke Kelly. Because that's the type of fucking man he is. I love Will Jackson. Will Jackson walks into medical, and he notices that Luke Kelly hasn't eaten a bite of her food. You know what I'm saying? That shit looked disgusting. I wouldn't want to have any of it either. But of course, how can she be expected to eat? She's grieving. You know what I'm saying? So she's sitting there. She's like just a shell of a person, just numb to the world. Just say what you gotta say and then get the hell out of my sight. So she sees him approaching. She's looking like, yes. And he tells her, you know, you could go back to your unit today, yada, yada. And she's like, where's Reb? When can I go see Reb? And he tells her Reb has been taken to the coroner's. And she's like, so you sent him away without even giving me a chance to say goodbye? And she looks at him. And the look that she gave him, I feared for Will Jackson's life moving forward. Meanwhile, in the corridors of Wentworth, see Allie in her wheelchair just wheeling down the halls when all of a sudden a random inmate comes jogging down the fucking corridor. I have never seen a bitch just randomly jogging. Like, she was doing laps. Like, what the fuck was that? And then it dawns on me, you know, this has to happen this way because, hello, Allie's in a wheelchair. So the woman comes jogging down the hall. Allie looks at her, and it took me 2 times to watch it to realize what was going on. It was supposed to be like a testament to you, Allie, in a wheelchair. You can't jog about, but I can. And so this is Allie's life now. In a wheelchair, watching people walk and run by her. Meanwhile, she's never gonna fucking be able to. It was sad. So she turns the corner, and who does she encounter? My precious baby love, Luke Kelly. She walks over to Allie, puts her hands on the wheelchair, and tells her, did you kill Reb? And Allie's like, listen, if I was gonna do anything, I was gonna do it to you. Why would I kill Reb? Are you crazy? Mari's in the background talking about Lou. She's in a wheelchair. Stop it, okay? Lou don't give 2 fucks. So what happens? Allie's telling her it wasn't me. I would have killed you, not Reb, and Boomer and Ruby come. As well as more people. There's like a little crowd gathering now. Joan is back there somewhere. Sheila's back there with her smug snake ass, looking, smiling, enjoying Lou and her grief. You know what I'm saying? What a fucking bitch. I happens next is Boomer and Ruby come, and Boomer lightly taps Lou, like to get her off of Allie. She didn't like grab her, she didn't push her, she lightly went to go tap her on the shoulder, and Lou snaps back and immediately goes to Boomer talking about what you gonna do about it, Top Dog. What are you gonna do about this? And I felt bad for Boomer, because at that moment I feel like Boomer genuinely felt bad for Lou, because you gotta remember, they've got history. They were once best friends, all right? They grew up together in the hood. You know what I'm saying? They probably was locked up in juvenile detention centers together. Who the fuck knows? But they've got a history. You know what I'm saying? And I know that even though they're like arch enemies, maybe not Lou, but I know Boomer still feels something for Lou Kelly as far as, you know, their friendship goes. Like if she was given, like let's say if Lou Kelly said, all right, Boomer, you know, whatever you did, let's just be cool again. Boomer's gonna be all for that. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like a part of Boomer, in this scene, I feel like Boomer feels bad. She's not threatening Lou, nor do I think she's threatened by Lou in this scene. I think she's just feels bad for Lou in this scene. So Lou tells her, what you gonna do about it, Top Dog? I'm waiting. And Linda comes. Linda comes and tells them to disperse. Keep it moving, ladies, or you're going to the slot. Well, basically, she tells that to Lou. And they keep it moving, right? So Sheila loved all of this. She loved the agony on Lou's face. But what happens? Joan goes to Sheila and tells her the garrote was a nice choice. And Sheila looks at her like, this fucking bitch, and tells her, don't believe everything Mari tells you. But that was Joan. Again, that was Joan, her crazy ass, complimenting Sheila on her choice of murder weapon to kill Reb. Okay? Why? Because deep down inside, she's still sore over what happened with the fish. It's fucking stupid, but it is what it is. Okay? Like, I don't know. Okay, so she was in a coma and she had amnesia, right? Does amnesia, when you wake up from amnesia and you remember now, like, what is this? Is it you're I don't understand. Like, does she have split personality or not? Like, what's going on with Joan? I'm so confused. Can she turn on the Kath and turn off the Joan and vice versa? Or is it something that she can't control when Joan comes or when Kath comes? You know what I'm saying? And is this medication that fucking Dr. Miller is giving her, is it gonna make her worse? Is it gonna send signals to the wrong places and just make her lose it? I don't know. But I feel like, I don't know. A quick little scene. It's Joan, Lou, and Mari, and they're in H6. They're in the unit, and Mari's telling Lou, listen, you need to chill because it wasn't fucking Allie. And Lou's like, not Allie, then who? Mari just looks at Lou, and Lou is like, oh, let me guess, you think I did it just like everybody else. And she storms into her room, into her cell, and she closes the door behind her. Joan tells Mari, I don't think Lou did it. And then they cut to the next scene, which is Judy Bryant's treacherous fucking ass. So she's in there with her damn ponytail, okay, that looks really cute, all right, and she's talking to her lawyer, and the lawyer's telling her, you know, these are things that you could do in order to prolong your fucking extradition and yada, 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 and one of these things involves the care of a partner in prison. I want to give a shout out at this time to Craig from Wentworth Life, because I do believe that in his prediction video or in one of his videos, okay, he mentioned this. The kiss on the cheek of Allie given by a treacherous snake named Judy Bryant, all right, that kiss on the cheek, he theorized, all right, that maybe Judy was trying to seduce Allie in some shape, way, or form. So that's exactly what this treacherous fucking bitch is gonna do. Try to do, anyway. I hope Allie doesn't fall for her games. I mean, is Judy really your type? I've seen the type of women that Allie's been with. How can you go from being with B. Smith, right, to being with Judy? So the lawyer basically tells her, you know, if you have a partner who's got a long-term permanent disability, then it could buy you a good 3 to 6 months before you are extradited to the States, where you will be tortured until you die, okay? And she's like, oh, Alex, you're a genius, because that's the lawyer's name. And I'm like, oh, he's a genius. Yeah, and you're a fucking bitch. A treacherous one. Judy Bryant. Next scene is Boomer and Gavin. They're on the VI floor, and, you know, Gavin's telling her, oh, all your prison porn is doing great. My subscribers have doubled since, you know, all this shit. Gavin tells her some shit about, oh, if they could see it in video, they would love it even more. And she's like, well, perhaps you could smuggle in a miniature camera. You know what I'm saying? And I can take video footage of all of it for you. Oh my God. I wonder if Boomer ends up capturing something on video that she's by accident. You know what I'm saying? A murder, perhaps. That just popped into my head. So she tells him, if you smuggle in a camera, I can take video footage for you and yada, yada, yada. The only thing is we got to do it during a conjugal visit. Are you with it? He's like, I'm with it. And she's like, all right, bet. So that was that, right? And then the next scene, first of all the scenes with Boomer on her quest to gather Gavin's spoof, okay, were so cute and funny. And I loved it. Like, I love Boomer. Boomer stops Jake in the hallway and she's like, Jake, can I talk to you? So that she's making small talk. She asks if she could see a picture of baby Grace. He shows it to her. She asks him if she could be put on the conjugal list. She shows him love letters from Gavin to her, or vice versa, I'm not sure, as proof of her relationship with Gavin. Jake Stewart's not buying it. He's like, nah, bitch, no way. He walks away. As he's walking away, Boomer swipes the picture of baby Grace from his back pocket, okay, and holds it hostage to her face, telling him, listen, I fucking helped bring your baby into this world safely in the middle of a shitstorm, okay? The least you could do is help me get, okay? And he looks at her like, you got a point. And so he agrees. You know what I'm saying? Meanwhile, back in H1, we've got Allie in her cell, Dito, and she's using the bathroom, the toilet. Allie is sitting on the toilet bowl in her cell when she's trying to get from point A to point B, from the bowl to the chair, and the chair moves, she falls. Judy hears, comes into the cell. Allie, do you need assistance? And Allie's like, nah, I got this, but could you flush the toilet for me, Dito? I felt bad at that part because it was probably embarrassing for her to ask Judy to flush the toilet. There was probably shit in there, you know what I'm saying? But it is what it is. Like, nobody should be embarrassed because of things like that. These are natural things that everybody does. And if you're in a situation where you can't flush the toilet and you need someone else to flush the toilet for you, it's okay. And don't be embarrassed. So what happens in this moment, Judy is talking to her and Allie's, holding back tears and telling her that this shit sucks. And Judy's telling her, listen, I'm basically going to be at your beck and call for the whole rest of the time that I'm in here because you're in this situation because of me. And Allie looks at her and she's like, because of me, because I took the bread. You know what I'm saying? So I knew she wasn't going to confess to it. For a second there, it looked like Allie may have been waiting for her to confess to it. I don't think Allie knows it was Judy. I've been hearing a lot of people thinking that Allie knows and she's fronting. I don't think Allie knows. Nor do I think that Allie's faking her paralysis. So in this moment, Judy's just like looking at her and she gave Allie this look and I'm like, yo, you're a treacherous bitch. This woman is paralyzed on the floor because of you. And you are now looking for other ways to use her for your own personal gain. You're a fucking treacherous bitch. And when they kill you, oh my God, I'm going to have a alcoholic beverage in hand for that episode because you have to go. She basically convinces Allie into letting her open up a case to the prison because, you're paralyzed because of them. Lou should have been in the slot and she wasn't. She was free. She stabbed you and now you can't walk. Meanwhile, Lou didn't stab her. It was this bitch sitting right next to her. Long story short, Allie's with it, so now they're going to fucking sue the prison. And by doing this, it'll prove that Allie is permanently disabled. Therefore, Judy could stay longer in Australia. Meanwhile, she needs to get the hell out of Australia. She don't deserve to be there. So the next scene is one of the saddest scenes in Wentworth. It's nighttime. We hear these cries and banging. You know what I'm saying? And we see Lou at Reb's cell door, hitting it. She's saying, fuck you something. I couldn't understand what's the word she was saying. If you know, let me know in the comments down below because I couldn't make it out. She's banging at the door. She's crying and the door is locked so she can't get into the cell. And that's all she wants is to get into the cell. She wants to feel closer to him by being inside his cell. So she's crying. She rips the tape off the door. She ends up collapsing to the floor. Then Mari comes to console her. She's like, the guards are going to come. They're going to take you to psych if you don't pipe down. You know what I'm saying? And she's like, I swear to God, I'm going to kill Allie. I'm going to kill her whole crew. They all going down. And Mari's like, but it wasn't even them. Like, what are you talking about? She was like, don't say that. You don't want to do that. And Lou's like, yeah, I do. And she's like, it wasn't dumb. What is it going to change? She was like, I don't care. But it's going down. You know what I'm saying? And what the fuck? And Mari's like, I know how you feel. And Lou was like, how the fuck could you possibly know how I feel? You know what I'm saying? And so Mari tells her about Danny and like how she lives with that grief. Lou tells her, how do you do it? You know what I'm saying? How do you live with this pain? Mari tells her, you just do. You know what I'm saying? And Lou's like, I can't. And she starts to cry, and she's like, fucking shit, man. Like, I didn't get to say goodbye to him. He died without even getting a chance to be in the right body. Like, he died in the wrong body. And she just starts to cry, and she's telling him that she's sorry. Oh, and it was so sad. And it wasn't hysterics, but the tears were coming down. Put the cry count here, because at this point, I just don't know. But I think for this episode, it's the first time that I cried. But in total, I believe it's the 5th. It was such a good scene, yo. Kate Bax's acting is fucking A1. The next scene, this next scene also made me cry. I cried back to back. So this scene here is Rita, and she's with her father. And she's talking to her dad, even though he hasn't been, talking back. And she's telling him, I made peace with what I did with the car crash. I spoke to whoever, and they've, forgiven me, blah, blah, blah. When all of a sudden, he wakes up and says Ruby's name, but then continues. Ruby told me what you did to protect her. And Rita's like, oh, Dad. Like, she's shocked that he knows that it's her. You know what I'm saying? This is the moment she's been waiting for, Dito. Oh, God, it was so sad. So he's telling her, basically, you're a good kid, Rita. And she starts to cry. And I started crying right along with her. She lays down next to her father, okay, and starts to cry. And he kisses her on top of her head, and it was the most beautiful fucking thing, okay? And let me tell you something. I cried. It was so sad. It was so touching. She wanted to make peace with her dad, and she did. I was saying, I hope that happens, and it has happened, and I'm so glad. Also, he tells her, promise me that you'll take care of Ruby. Promise me she'll get out of that place in one piece. And Rita says, I promise, Dad. Right before she goes to cry and hug him. And the second he asked that request and she said, I promise, I said, in that moment, I said, okay, so it's safe to say that Ruby's not going to be making it out of Wentworth alive, okay? The father asking Rita to promise that basically confirms for me, Rita's not going to make it out in one piece. She's not going to make her parole. Next scene is Ruby walking down the halls and she sees Zaina. And there's an exchange that's made. Zaina gives her the goods and Ruby gives her some cash, okay? The whole exchange was really flirty between the two of them. We both know that they both like the same things in life, okay? I thought it was a cute scene, But what's happening? After the exchange is made, you see who? My precious baby love lingering in the background watching. So she saw this exchange and she's suspicious. So then the next scene is Boomer and Gavin, and they're in the conjugal visit. And Gavin pulls out the camera from wherever it is that he was hiding it, okay? I don't know where it was. But he pulls it out. Boomer asks if it's clean, okay? And so she's basically telling him, listen, you got to give me something for my troubles. Because if I get caught, it's a wrap for me. If you get caught, nothing's going to happen. So this is dangerous for me. How are you going to make this worth my while? And he's like, well, what would you like? Some chocolate? Some Monte Carlos? Why does he think that he could bribe her with food? That's so insulting, all right? So she's like, nah, I don't want no damn chocolate. I want your spoof. And he's like, I didn't sign up for this. Like, I'm not having sex with you. And she's like, listen, don't nobody want to have sex with you neither, all right? So calm down. I just want your spoof. He tells her no. So she throws the camera at him. She says, no spoof, no video. And so he's like, fine. So he's doing the damn thing, okay? And she's like, can you hurry up, please? And so he does what he has to do, and he gives her the spoof inside of a Ziploc bag. It was disgusting, okay? When he handed her the bag, I was like, could you please put that down? So he gives her the fucking spoof, and then they leave. Linda escorts Boomer one way. The other officer escorts Gavin. And Gavin just looks defeated, violated, you know what I'm saying? Just Like he's never gonna be the same again after what just happened in there with him giving her the spoof. You know what I'm saying? It was so funny. So then the next scene is Boomer skipping and running happily along into H1, and she's telling Ruby, it's going down. I'm about to impregnate myself or whatever. So they run into the fucking room. Ruby gives her the syringe, which is what she was buying off of Zaina, okay? And fucking Boomer takes the spoof into the syringe and goes on the bed. Ruby helps to hold her hips up while Boomer impregnates herself with Gavin's spoof, okay? You hear the sound, the disgusting sound of the spoof going inside of her, okay? And she's like, we have liftoff. And that's the end of that. Those scenes, were so fun to watch with Boomer and the whole, running around trying to gather Gavin's spoof. The next scene is Vera walking into Wentworth Correctional, or out of Wentworth. I don't know where the hell she was going. She was walking through a door, all right? And she sees a note on the ground. And it says, meet me in the showers at 3 o'clock if you want to know who killed Reb. Right? And she's like, what? So that was that. That was literally the end of that scene. So now the next scene is Lou and Will, and they're in the governor's office, and Lou just looks shattered and hurt and just sad, and numb. She looks like the only emotions she's capable of at this point are anger and sadness. You know what I'm saying? Rage. Governor Jackson tells her, listen, I'm going to offer you a transfer to another unit. You know what I'm saying? And she's like, nah, I want to stay in H6. I feel closer to him there. And he's like, all right, whatever you want to do. And he tells her, listen, I think you need to know we got the results back from the blood test on you and Reb, and you guys were drugged. So Lou realizes what happened. She was like, we were drugged? And he's like, yeah. And she's like, so that's why I didn't fucking wake up. Right there on that chair, she goes from sadness to revenge will be mine, okay? Mode in the face. And he's telling her, think back to what you ate, to what you drank. You know what I'm saying? And she ain't listening to him. All she knows is that she's going to find out who did it, and it's a wrap for them. So, what happens next? Lou snatches up Zaina in the hallways, okay? By the hair, drags her down the halls of Wentworth and tells her, what the fuck did you sell to Ruby? Lou knees her in the stomach, all right? And then Zaina says it. It was Ruby. I sold her a fucking syringe. Lou doesn't believe her. She's like, who did you sell the Valium to? Which is what they were drugged with. The sedative that was used to drug Lou and Reb, all right? And she's like, I don't know what you're talking about. So Lou kicks her a couple of times, stomps the shit out of her. When finally Zaina talks, and she was like, it wasn't Ruby that I sold it to. And Lou's like, who the fuck was it? And Zaina's like, it was Mari. Okay? You never hear her say Mari, but the next scene is Lou walking into H6 straight into Mari's cell. She starts looking through her shit. And in her shit, what does she find? The strychnine from season 8, all right? The poison that Lou made to kill Dr. Miller, okay? And it wasn't used for that. And here it is. She finds it. Mari walks in. What the fuck are you doing in my cell? And Lou is telling her, I know it was you, bitch. You bought the fucking shit from Zaina. I know that you killed Reb. So she sees the sheet, the ripped sheet. You know what I'm saying? Sheila put the sheet there, clearly, because she's a fucking bitch and wants to set up Mari. Long story short, Lou is like, you're a fucking snake-ass bitch. You killed Reb. And Mari's like, nah, it wasn't me. It was Sheila. And Lou's like, why in the fuck would Sheila kill Reb? Mari is such a fucking bitch. I tell you, I got some little notes here. So Lou's telling Mari, why the fuck would Sheila kill Reb? And so Mari tells Lou, because you killed Mendel. And all those motherfuckers in the True Paths retreat, conversion, fucking therapy center. Why do I call it a retreat? Did they ever call it a retreat? Or is that something that I added? Because it's damn sure not no fucking retreat. So Lou's basically asking Mari, who the fuck told Sheila that? Mari tells her, I told her. You know what I'm saying? And Lou is like, why in the fuck would you say that to Sheila? And then she's like, just realizing, oh shit, that explains it. That makes sense. Sheila did kill Reb. At the same time, Mari's in the back talking her shit. Lou is like, oh my God, trying to fucking keep it together, but at the same time, ready to fucking blow. When all of a sudden, Mari says these words, Reb's death is on you. Okay, first of all, Mari, I'm gonna need for you to shut the fuck up and stop saying that shit. Do you remember when Mari and Rita had their beef and Mari had Ray killed? Okay? What did Mari say to Rita in the yard? Ray's death is on you, Rita, right? And what did Rita do? She choked Mari out, right? Okay. So here we have a repeat of that scene. We've got fucking Mari once again being the reason why someone dies, okay? Okay? And then telling that person's loved one that their death is on them. Oh my God. That death was not on Lou. Lou killing Mendel was not the reason why Sheila did this. Sheila did this because Mari put the bug into her ear. Okay? That's the only reason why Sheila killed Reb. Had Mari not opened her mouth and talked her shit into fucking Sheila's ear, Sheila would have never killed Reb. Never, okay? She would have never thought to kill Lou, and she definitely would have never killed Reb. Mari needs to stop. Mari got what she had coming with what happened next. So after Mari yells at Lou, Reb's death is on you, what does Lou do? Oh my God, it was freaking great. It was fucking great, okay? Lou, she turns around and she screams like a wild banshee and goes running towards fucking Mari while screaming at the same time and goes straight for Mari's throat. She now has Mari by the fucking throat, okay? And she's choking the fucking shit out of her, okay? On the sofa. It was fucking great. Let me tell you something. Watching Luke Kelly run out of that room screaming like a maniac, okay, to go to kill Mari was some shit. I loved it. I loved it. So she runs up on Mari. She's choking her the fuck out. And she's crying at the same time. And she just looks so beautiful while she's choking Mari, okay? Like, listen, Kate Box, Luke Kelly, oh my God. She's choking her out. Mari's fucking dying. And then Lou just lets her go. And she tosses her to the side. She breathes in, she breathes out, and she says, Sheila's fucking dead. Meanwhile, Mari's over here trying to get her wind back on the ground. Okay? It was great. It was great. Let me tell you something. Lou Kelly on one is everything. Everything. She's coming for your throats. So y'all better watch your backs. Mari got what she had coming. Okay? And my question was, why did Lou let her go? Why didn't Lou kill Mari? You know what I'm saying? And the only thing that I could think of as a reason for Lou not killing Mari was maybe in that moment while she was strangling Mari, she realized that this is similar to what Reb went through when he died. You know what I'm saying? Maybe that's what it was. And so that's why she let her go, because why the fuck else would you let her go? You know what I'm saying? Like, why wouldn't you continue to kill her? You almost had it done. She was almost dead. She couldn't fucking breathe. You know what I'm saying? Oh, man. But if that's what it was, that's heartbreaking. The next scene we see is Vera in the shower. She's gone to meet whoever it is at 3 o'clock to find out who killed Reb. So she opens up the shower curtain, sees no one's there, turns around, sees Joan, gets scared. Joan's laughing because, like, she's like, oh, I startled you. You know what I'm saying? Like it's all good, clean fun. You know what I'm saying? Like, there was no malice behind Joan startling Vera. It wasn't done on purpose. It was Kath in that bathroom, not Joan. But then Joan pops up, and I'll tell you how. So she's telling her it was Sheila who killed Reb. And Vera's laughing. Bitch, why should I believe a word that comes out of your mouth? And Joan is like, because I want to help. You know what I'm saying? Vera ends up saying something about Jake. She mentions Jake's name as she basically calls Joan a joke. You know what I'm saying? And as she's walking out, Joan is left in the bathroom, and then Joan says Jake, and then she makes this face and a movement like she's like annoyed / disgusted by the thought of Jake. I don't know what that was all about, but it was interesting, her reaction to Jake's name. And the next scene is Vera telling Will what just happened in the showers with Ferguson, and Will is on some shit. You know, listen, I feel like she really does have amnesia. She hasn't acted crazy, no psychotic episodes, blah, 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 this and that. And Vera is clearly disgruntled, you know what I'm saying, and pissed off and like, yo, what the fuck is wrong with y'all motherfuckers? Why can't you see what I see? You know what I'm saying? And then the next scene, oh my God, the next scene made me cry, yo. When I tell you, I was crying. So in this scene, it's Rita, her aunt, because finally we know who the woman is. It's Rita's aunt. It's Rita's dad's sister. So it's Rita, it's her aunt, and it's her dying dad in the bed. And Rita's just there, like, knowing the time is coming, and she's, like, holding the phone. And so I'm assuming she was waiting for Ruby to call. Ruby calls. And she's like, I'm here. And Rita tells her it's any minute now. You know what I'm saying? It's getting close to the time of his departure. And so she puts the phone on speaker and puts it next to her father. And Ruby says, I'm here, Dad. I've come to see you off. You know what I'm saying? Oh, my God. And after he hears Ruby say that, he takes his last breath. He takes his last breath after Ruby says those words. And it was so sad. It was one of the saddest scenes. I want to tell you, I couldn't stop crying. I couldn't stop crying. And because it reminded me of something that happened to me. And anyway, then what happens? They start singing. You see Ruby in her cell, and she's singing that song. The song that Rita sang for Ray to sing him home to heaven. You know what I'm saying? But they're all singing it. Ruby starts singing it. Then you see Rita singing it, and the aunt is singing it. Like all three of the ladies, the girl, they're all singing this song, and it was so freaking sad. I couldn't stop. I was literally crying, like, and it was so sad. And we hear the song stops with Rita singing it. She's got such a beautiful voice. So then what happens, man? The aunt goes outside and tells somebody, don't you have any damn respect? My brother just died. And I'm like, ah, shit, here we go. It's the po-po coming to get Rita. So they come to get Rita. The cops do. Hold on. They come to collect Rita to take her back to Wentworth Correctional Center. And it was sad. She just put her shit on. She didn't fuss. She didn't fight. She knew what she had to do. You know what I'm saying? She wasn't going nowhere until her dad was safely in heaven. But now that he was, she knows what she's got to do. So she left. Rita looks so good in that outfit with them jeans and that shirt. Let me just say, like, Leah Purcell, you looking great. I went from crying with sadness to being completely horrified with what I saw in this next scene. We're almost at the home stretch, people. These are the last moments of the show. So the next scene is Sheila in the chemicals closet, okay? She's there returning a broom or a mop or whatever the fuck it was that she was using. She's in there to return some cleaning supplies when all of a sudden walks in Lou Kelly. My precious baby love, looking fierce in the eyes, okay? She's walking in on an unsuspecting Sheila, and she tells her, what's up, Sheila? Surprised to see me? You know what I'm saying? And Sheila tells her, what do you want, Kelly? Lou Kelly tells her, I know that you killed Reb. You know what I'm saying? And so now I'm going to present to you two options. Option A is this. You drink this and die. Or I slit your fucking throat and you die, all right? You're going to pick your method of death. So Sheila asks her, what is this? Lou tells her, this is strychnine, okay? This is going to poison you and you're going to die if you drink it. Lou tells her, it's not an exact science. You might survive. And then she tells her, Mendel didn't, though. She tells her, I know you killed Reb. And Sheila's like, that's right, bitch. I did kill him. An eye for an eye. Exactly what I said in last week's video. I was like, she's on some eye for an eye shit. She tells her, without Mendel, everything is falling apart. And Lou is like, oh, what do you mean? Without Mendel, se te está parando. You know what I'm saying? Without Mendel, you're in heat over the female body. You know what I'm saying? Lou makes a reference to Sheila's perverse lesbianism. Okay? Remember in season 8 when Sheila tells Reb, I was trying to cure you of your perverse lesbianism. You know what I'm saying? So basically Lou knew the whole time about Sheila wanting that poon. You know what I'm saying? Oh my God. When she did that, when Lou told Sheila, you know what happened? Your feelings of perverse lesbianism are coming to the surface, bitch. She said it and she touched Sheila's face. And my thought was, you know, first of all, Lou Kelly, if you could stop touching everyone's fucking face like that, you know what I'm saying? Because what the fuck? Why do you do it? Mine's is right here. Open for the touching. She's doing this to Sheila. And I feel like Sheila was loving every second of Lou Kelly's hand on her face. How could you not? You know what I'm saying? Long story short, Sheila tells her, I suppose it won't help for me to apologize for murdering Reb, right? And Lou's just looking at her like, bitch, if you don't shut the fuck up and drink that poison. And then she's like, well, I'm not gonna apologize because I'm not sorry. Bottoms up, bitch. And she drinks the fucking poison, okay? Like a crazy ass bitch. I was like, wow. And then I said to Lou Kelly, slit her throat anyway. Let her drink the poison, but slit her throat any fucking way. Oh my God. So that scene was great. That scene when Lou called Sheila out on her own perverse lesbianism, I loved every second of it. I was like, yes, my precious baby love. You tell her. You tell her. All right? What happens next? Will goes to Vera and tells her, listen, I seen Sheila on the CCTV mopping outside of Reb's unit right before the whole shit happened or what have you. So I need to bring this bitch in for questioning. And Vera's like, oh my God, the freak was right. And so they're like putting out an APB for fucking Sheila Bausch in the prison, right? Meanwhile, back in the chemicals closet, okay? You see Lou Kelly sitting on a bucket or something, much like I am right now, okay? And she's just like this, exactly like this, just sitting, watching, just looking, you know what I'm saying? And you hear these weird sounds like some fucking creature. It sounded like a fucking creature was just there, grunting. Sheila was there making fucking crazy ass sounds, okay? And she's hitting her head against the sink. This way. I was like, is it a tick? Or is she doing it on purpose? I think she was trying to knock herself out. You see what Lou is looking at? You see a dying Sheila, okay? Whew, this was the scene that was the most disturbing thing that I've ever fucking seen in the history of Wentworth. This scene right here. The whole thing. What I'm about to say until it's over. So we see Sheila. Oh, shit, we see Sheila. We see Sheila on the floor. And the sink is next to her. And she's bashing her. She's grunting and making these weird sounds that I didn't like. Okay? I didn't like it. But at the same time, I loved it because, bitch, this is what you fucking had coming. This is your reward for killing poor innocent Reb and ripping the one true love of Lou's life out of her hands, okay? This is what you had coming. But it was fucking creepy, okay? So she's sitting there twitching, all right? And she's bashing her head against the sink. Just bashing it against the sink. But with little force, because she's so weak, because the poison is eating away at her fucking insides, probably disintegrating them as she was doing that. I feel like she was trying to knock herself out because it must be painful. You know what I'm saying? Your innards being fucking melted. I don't know what the fuck this poison was doing, but it was killing her. And Lou is just sitting there like, So Sheila starts crawling over to the knees of Lou Kelly. And with the last bits of energy that she's got, you know what I'm saying? She's crawling. She looks like the fucking crypt keeper, okay? Yo, it was fucking creepy. It was straight out of a fucking horror movie. I don't like horror movies. I was watching through fingers because I wasn't sure if like foam or blood was gonna come flying out of her mouth. I don't like that shit. So I didn't know what was gonna happen. So I'm watching like this, like, oh God, look at her. And I'm like, just horrified. You know what I'm saying? And she crawls up to Lou and she tells Lou, kill me, bitch. Just fucking take me out of my misery. And Lou looks at her like, you chose this, bitch. And she kicks her. She kicks her and she falls. And then Lou is back. I see, just stone cold in the face. Not enjoying it, not loving it, just not giving a fuck. That was what it was. She just didn't care. She's like, this is what you chose, and I'm gonna sit back and I'm gonna watch it happen because you are getting what you deserve, bitch. So, what happens? Mari hears this APB that was put out on fucking Sheila in the prison, and she goes running to try to find Sheila because she knows that Lou's gonna kill her. Okay? So what happens? Mari, with her psychic self, ends up at the chemicals closet and she goes in to find Sheila in pain and agony on the floor. That's what Mari sees. She sees unfazed Lou Kelly looking cool, calm, collected, and fine, all right, on that bucket, and Sheila on the floor, I don't know, like hip thrusting, like she was fucking possessed on the ground or some shit. It was fucking crazy. I don't like contorting movements like that. Like, It was weird and creepy, and it made my skin crawl, and my hands were started to shake. It was bad, okay? Like, I had a reaction to that. Oh, God. So, Mari's like, oh, my God, what the fuck did you do? And Lou was like, I didn't do jack shit, bitch. She drank the poison. She drank the strychnine. That's what happened here. I didn't do nothing. So, Sheila's on the floor, hips in the air, spitting, bloody on the forehead. And she's like, with the last ounce of strength, she's like, finish it. And she's saying these things and her mouth looked crazy. Oh, it was bad. And Mari's like, yo, I can't see this shit. And I'm like, me neither. And so basically, Mari decides to kill Sheila to put her out of her misery. You know what I'm saying? So she goes and she grabs a fucking mop stick and she goes for her throat. Takes the mop stick. She puts it on Sheila's fucking throat. She tells Sheila, I'm sorry, okay? And she proceeds to squeeze down. Now, the part that really fucking disturbed me was when Mari grabs the stick and goes towards Sheila's neck, Sheila's on the floor and her hands are like this and she sees the stick and she's like, she starts doing this flappy thing like she couldn't wait to get her hands on that stick so she could choke herself the fuck out and just kill herself, because that would be a better alternative than what she's already facing. I can't imagine how that must feel to be poisoned. Like, something must be happening to her innards, all right? Like, ooey. So Mari's like pressing down on her fucking throat and she can't do it because she's a weak ass bitch, okay? You can't even fucking strangle somebody with a stick. So she asks Lou for help. And Lou is like, you know what? I said, hold on. So she gets up reluctantly and she goes, she grabs the stick. She looks at Mari like, you're a fucking bitch. This is all because of you. And I hope you know that revenge will be mine. When I'm ready to come for you, I'm gonna fucking come for you. That's what that look told me. So Lou Kelly is not fazed by what's happening below her, which is a fucking dying Sheila Bausch, spitting, bloody, looking crazy. So they start pressing down. And it was, oh, so creepy. So Sheila's like there, and then she's looking at Lou, and her eyes go from Lou to straight to Mari. And she dies looking at Mari. Mari's horrified. Lou could give two fucks when she dies. Then after that, what we see is a dead Sheila Bausch on the floor. Sheila on that floor dying, it was like watching a wild animal that had been shot and is now struggling to die. You know what I'm saying? It was terrible. It was the most disturbing thing that I've ever fucking seen on Wentworth. And when I watched it the second time, it was equally as disturbing. When I watched it the third and the fourth time, I'm just like, yo, what the fuck is this? Like, it never got easier. That's one of the top 3 most horrifying scenes I've ever seen on Wentworth. Like, job well fucking done. All right? So then the next scene is the women, and everyone's congregated in the cafeteria. They're having dinner. You know, when all of a sudden the panic button is rung and everyone's like, it's a fucking cold black, and motherfuckers are like, what's going on now? You know what I'm saying? So they're like, oh, where's Sheila? Where's Sheila? And Joan is like, she's probably in the slot. Woo, this was a good scene. This was a good fucking scene. I got so excited. I went from crying to being completely horrified, okay, to being completely hyped up and ready to kick ass. We see Lou Kelly sitting in the cafeteria. She looks like she's just not, it's not the day. Today is not the day to fuck with her. She's sitting there. She doesn't have a meal in front of her. She could give a fuck about the food. All she cares about is, you know, nothing really at this point. There's nothing she cares about at this point. And she's just sitting there. When all of a sudden, the fucking thing with the alarm and the cold black. So Joan is like, I wonder where Sheila is. Maybe she's in the slot. And Lou Kelly's like, she's not in the fucking slot. Sheila's dead. I killed the fucking bitch because she murdered Reb. Linda's like, Kelly, sit down. And then Lou Kelly goes to Boomer's table. And she's like, you're fucking useless, bitch. You didn't do nothing. You did nothing. Oh, I love that part. And then she's just like, bam, none of y'all bitches did nothing. And I'm like, ooh, yes, I understand that 100%, because when I am enraged, that's one of my go-to things. I can't even help myself right away. If there's a surface, I'm banging that shit. You know what I'm saying? So I was like, oh my God, I love her. So she's flipping the fuck out. And she's like, none of y'all did nothing. So I'm declaring myself the top dog of this shit. What happened? and the women go wild. Everyone starts screaming, banging on tables. The fucking screws have my precious baby love, and she's like, ah! Screaming on her way out. It was fucking great, okay? And then what happens? They zoom in to Mari Winter's face, and she's like, as soon as Kelly declared herself top dog of the prison, Mari's reaction was this. And I was like, that's right, bitch. Prepárate. Get ready, bitch, because everything that you got coming is coming. Luke Kelly's the top dog now. Your life is gonna be miserable. What you think? That you're bonded? She's gonna be your new daughter now? No, bitch. She's coming for you. Yo, let me tell you something. It was so good, okay? I can't get over how fucking good this season is thus far. And we're only 2 episodes in. And all of this shit has happened. That was it, world. If you like this video, you already know what to do. I think I said all my thoughts. I said all my thoughts as I went along. But moving forward, I was wrong and right about certain things. I'm going to be making a video about what predictions I got correct and what predictions I got completely incorrect, okay? Because I got lots of things wrong, but I got a couple of good things right, okay? And I feel like I should share them with you, and I'm going to in a future video. I'm so glad Sheila got what she had coming. She deserved that death. As horrifying as it was, okay, she deserved it. And I'm gonna need for Mari to stop making me feel conflicted, all right? Because one minute I hate the bitch, and the next minute I feel bad for the bitch. I don't understand. But it's a testament to the acting of Susie Porter, because she's able to invoke all of these feelings inside of me, all right? Kate Box's acting in this episode when she was crying at that door and when she was killing Sheila in that fucking chemicals cupboard. Oh my God. Yo, what I wouldn't give to be in the same room with that woman and just breathe. You know, that's all I want to do. I want to be in the same room with her, and I want to take a few breaths, okay? Breathe her in. It was so good, world. So, so good. What do you guys think is going to happen moving forward? Do you think that Lou is going to kill Mari? I think that Lou is going to kill Mari. Somebody got to kill this bitch. You know what I'm saying? Also, I don't know if you guys realize, this is episode number 2, and this is another episode without Anne Reynolds in it. What the fuck is up with Anne Reynolds? Where is she? And why isn't she in these episodes? You know what I'm saying? I'll tell you why. Because when she comes back, she's coming back full force on some shit. I don't like Anne. I could do without her character. That was it, world. If you like this video, you already know what to do. Like my shit, subscribe, ring the bell. And we're going to be doing this again next week with episode 3. I can't fucking wait. I can't wait to see what happens next. All right, world. That was it. Thanks for watching. Bye.